Hello, this is Dover Wilkerson with Old School Boxing Talk. This one is entitled Back from the Dead, or Did We Come Up with Some More Money? Well, as we can see now, the news has spread that HBO has come up with some more money, apparently, after letting Manny Pacquiao go the way of the dinosaur. They somehow or another, the good folks at HBO, a fight they couldn't do early was Lomachenko versus Walters. They said they didn't have the money for it in their budget. All of a sudden, they have the money for it. Canelo Alvarez not fighting. I guess that him breaking his hand or whatever in his fight with the kid from England, I guess that opened up some money. So now we're talking about a possibility of Daniel Jacobs and Gennady Golovkin in December. Of course, we got the Ward Kovalev fight, which is still the biggest fight coming up this year. But the thing I want to talk about is the HBO situation with Nicholas Walters. Oh, and then they got a Salido versus a kid from Japan. That's supposed to be a good fight. But this is what happened. It's kind of funny. HBO decides they don't want Manny Pacquiao versus Jesse Vargas. Bob Arum starts talking about shopping Lomachenko, Bradley, and a bunch of his boys to Showtime. All of a sudden, HBO comes up with this money to put Lomachenko Walters together, to put Salido fight on. You know, HBO was screaming poverty, screaming we're broke, we don't. But all of a sudden, they have the money to put together 4 huge fights that they didn't want to do before, or that weren't planned, that wasn't on their schedule. I mean, it seems like Bob Arum says, I'm taking my shit to Showtime, and HBO goes, what? Hold on a minute. Crack that little piggy bank there, and they pull out some money. Lomachenko Walters is one of the better fights that can be made. At 130 pounds, Lomachenko's the title holder. Walters was screwed over and given a draw in the fight, but it was a fight that would have happened at featherweight, but Walters outgrew the division. Now we're going to find out what Nicholas Walters is really about. I've seen him knock out Nonito Donaire, but I kind of believe that Guillermo Rigondeaux took everything out of Nonito Donaire. Guillermo Rigondeaux pretty much took Donaire's heart, and there was nothing left of Donaire when Walters was blasting him out. That was pretty obvious, anybody watching. And Rigondeaux still can't find a dance partner. But Lomachenko, for all the thoughts about Lomachenko, I'm going to say this way, the kid's not all hype. You know, when you start out, this is what happens in boxing. When you're an amateur fighter, you fight the very best guys around. You don't pick this guy, you don't pick that guy, you fight the very best guys. Then what happens somewhere along the line when guys started turning professional, guys started fighting these setup fights and these fights to pad these record padding fights. And a prime example of a guy that did that to the point where he got exposed is Gary Russell Jr. They never put him in any fights to test him. He used his God-given ability to beat these opponents. And then when he fought Lomachenko, we found out that Gary Russell, he has ability, but he wasn't ready. Here's a guy that had 24 fights fighting a guy who was in his 3rd pro fight, and the guy in his 3rd pro fight whooped his ass. And, it's the fact that Lomachenko did something I'd like to see a lot of amateurs do, and that is, I don't want your little cupcake fights. I want to fight quality guys. You know, because I'm used to fighting the best, so I want to continue to fight the best. And I respect Lomachenko for that. Actually, if I was going to do a pound for pound, Lomachenko would probably be in my top 3. Because yes, he's lost the fight, but losing the fight doesn't mean it. Losing to Salido is not a bad loss. Let's get that straight. Losing in your 2nd professional fight to Orlando Salido, who one came in overweight, and his 2 is a veteran of some 60-some-odd fights. Losing to that guy is not a disgrace. The fact that Lomachenko had the balls to take that fight makes a lot of other fighters, Gennady Golovkin, should be ashamed of themselves. Let's get to Gennady Golovkin. I'm not a Triple G hater. This is what I hate. I hate when you people come on, or you idiots that know nothing about boxing, start screaming about, oh, Floyd didn't fight this guy, Floyd didn't fight that guy. Floyd fought the guys he fought. And you know what? I bet you when you go down, Floyd fought and beat a bunch of Hall of Famers. A bunch of them. And you people sit there and say, he didn't fight him at this time, he didn't fight him this time. Ain't about when he fought him. The fact is he fought him. He didn't fight Miguel Cotto when Miguel Cotto was, first was in the younger the welterweight division. No, he didn't. But the Miguel Cotto he fought was still whooping motherfuckers' ass. And Miguel Cotto he fought was the WBA junior middleweight champion. So let's get that straight. He didn't fight, people cry and say he didn't fight Margarito. Well, we found out later Margarito was cheating. And Margarito, when he found out his hand wrapped in Shane Mosley, whooped his ass. And who did Shane Mosley fight after whooping Margarito? Floyd Mayweather. He didn't fight Paul Williams. Well, no, he didn't fight Paul Williams because at the time it was really, look, certain guys fight. You don't fight everybody. Boxing is a business as much as a sport. You only have so many fights in your body. So Paul Williams was not a fight that was really, nobody really wanted that fight. Nobody was asking for a Paul Williams fight. The thing about Paul Williams and Margarito, y'all pulled that out of your ass after the fact. When those guys were relevant, wasn't nobody calling for Margarito to fight Mayweather. Nobody was calling for Paul Williams to fight Mayweather. Paul Williams, because everybody knew Mayweather those guys were not big enough draws. And furthermore, HBO, Floyd Mayweather was a pay-per-view fighter. He wasn't an HBO fighter. He was a pay-per-view fighter on HBO. So Paul Williams was not a pay-per-view draw. So there's no way in fucking hell Paul Williams was getting a Mayweather fight. HBO wasn't interested in it. HBO wasn't interested in it. And neither was Mayweather. I'm sure, maybe, because it made no sense. You put fights together. The fighters fight fights to make money. Mayweather was a pay-per-view attraction. Paul Williams was not a pay-per-view attraction. So that fight didn't happen, not because Paul Williams, didn't deserve the fight, but because it made no sense. And the fact of the matter is, Paul Williams brought nothing to the table. And you can't say about how great Paul Williams was because the guy, he turned around, he won the WBO title for Margarito, okay? Great job. But then he lost it to a guy who he shouldn't have lost to. Yes, he won it back, but still that guy, the guy's biggest win of his whole career was beating Paul Williams, a guy that wound up getting his ass whipped by everybody else, every other top fighter he faced. So let's stop with that. Anyways, let's get down to this thing with Triple G. Now we're going to find out what Gennady Golovkin is about. And this is what I'm happy about. Because I look at fighters, I say, who have you fought? Who in your division that's worth a damn have you fought? Like I said, Lomachenko should show some of you idiots that losing a fight does not diminish your star power. Hell, losing a fight was probably the best thing happened to Lomachenko because we found out this kid's for real. And it's how we came back. We found out this kid's for real. Because he lost to Salido, came back from that, beat Gary Russell's ass, and just has been a terror ever since. So we found out Lomachenko's a real deal. We still have questions about Gary Russell Jr. We know Gary Russell has all this God-given ability, but we don't know about Gary Russell. We still have questions about Gary Russell Jr. And that's the truth about that situation. But my question with Triple G has always been, who've you beat, boy? Who you beat? I look at the middleweight division. I see guys there. I see a Danny Jacobs. I see a Peter Quillins. I see a Chris Eubanks Jr. that are quality guys. And I look at Gennady Golovkin saying, well, this guy, nobody wants to fight me. Then I see you sit there and lowball Chris Eubanks Jr. You offer money that the man's making more money to defend his British title than what you're offering him. So why should you take that? You're offering less money he's normally making. So hell no. Now the WBA mandates that you have to fight Danny Jacobs, or I guess they're going to take the WBA title from you. So now the word is the team Jacobs, Al Heyman and Danny Jacobs team, they sent you an offer. We haven't heard shit from you yet. We're hoping that you're going to respond. We're hoping that the match is going to begin because this fight's supposed to take. Everybody's excited about this fight taking place in December. Look, would I be shocked? I'd be happy if the fight happens. Would I be shocked if it doesn't happen? No, I wouldn't be shocked. I would. Look, here's the thing. I don't think Gennady Golovkin's as vulnerable as he looked against Kell Brooks. I don't. I saw the fight. Yes, he looked bad, but I don't think he's really as vulnerable as he looked. I think there was something wrong with Gennady Golovkin somewhat that night. But I do see some things in Gennady Golovkin that night that showed me some things that gave me cause for pause. You know, if he takes those kind of shots from Danny Jacobs, does he stand up to those kind of shots from Danny Jacobs that he stood up from the other kid, from Brooks? I don't know. But then again, I don't think we're going to see the same Gennady Golovkin against Danny Jacobs that we saw against Brooks, because against Brooks, I guess Golovkin said, "Listen, fucking welterweight. The fuck? This guy can't hurt me." And he got stunned. He got stunned a couple times. You know, Brooks, pulled some power shot, pop. Yeah. Let me tell you people something. Any man that punches another man in the face can hurt him. Let's get it straight. It might not be knockout hurt, but it hurts. Excuse me. If somebody punches you in the face, it hurts. Whether you have gloves on or whether it's bare fist, it hurts. Whether it's 6'6" or 61, it hurts. So to talk about how he don't have the power to hurt me is bull. Any man can hit any man and hit him and hurt him. Can he hit him and hurt him to the point where he knocks him out? No, but he's going to feel the fact he got punched in his fucking face. And I think that's what we saw with Golovkin. He felt the fact that he was another man punching him in the face. It wasn't, whatever. It's not like it, was going to put him on Queer Street or nothing. But it did enough to say, hey, okay, I don't like the feeling of this. Now, I think we're going to see a different Gennady Golovkin against Danny Jacobs. I think we'll see a different Danny Jacobs against Gennady Golovkin. Then we've seen a Danny Jacobs against Peter Cronin. We've seen Danny Jacobs against Sergio Mora. I think we'll see a totally different guy, because both of these men will have enough respect for one another, enough common sense to know what the other can do to them. And I think should the fight happen, it will be a very tactical fight. There are things I want to know about Danny Jacobs, things I want to know about Gennady Golovkin. Danny Jacobs lost to Dmitry Pirov, who was supposed to fight Golovkin when Pirov's back injury took him out. Pirov had beaten Danny Jacobs in a 6th-round TKO to win the WBO middleweight title. Pirov and Golovkin were supposed to fight because Golovkin was the IBO champion, and I think he just won a WBA regular title at the time, and these two were supposed to fight on HBO. And I was excited for the fight because I seen Pirov and I'd heard about Golovkin. I had not seen him yet, but I heard about him. And I'd seen Pirov when he beat Jacobs, so I was excited for this fight. This looked like it was going to be a good fight, but unfortunately, like we said, Pirov, the back injuries, his career stalled. His career, he never fought again. The question also was Danny Jacobs, we've found out later, Danny Jacobs had cancer. So now the question is, did Pirov beat a cancer-ridden Danny Jacobs? Or what we saw against Pirov and Jacobs was just Danny Jacobs is okay, but he's just not on that level. These are questions we're going to find out about Danny Jacobs when he fights Gennady Golovkin. We're going to find out, was the Pirov fight just the fact that Danny Jacobs is a B fighter, but he's not an A fighter? Or was the fact that on that night, due to the cancer in his body and everything else going on, that Pirov caught Danny Jacobs, that Danny Jacobs battling cancer was really what slowed him down, whatever. We're going to find out the answer to that question. We're going to find out about Gennady Golovkin. We're going to find out, is Gennady Golovkin as good as people say he is? Or is he as protected? Is he a protected commodity by HBO? That just fights who they want him to fight, and they kind of say, he doesn't need to fight that kind of guy. Doesn't need to fight that guy. We're going to find out about Gennady Golovkin. We're going to find out about Danny Jacobs. We're going to find out about Golovkin. And this is going to be good because a Danny Jacobs win, wow, that's crazy. A Danny Jacobs win is just going to, see, here's the thing. Golovkin has more to lose than anybody. In this fight, Golovkin has more to lose. A loss to Danny Jacobs, Golovkin's done. They're just, they're going to have to rebuild Gennady Golovkin. Where do you take him from there? Your drawing power is gone. You're going to have to really do a whole big job to rebuild this guy. The Canelo fight's out the window. Possibly the goddamn fight with the other WBO boy who's held the belt hostage there. That's out the window. Now you're going to see, do you want to go up to 168? You're not going to fight James DeGale because you can't beat James DeGale. I'm sorry. I just don't see you beating James DeGale. I think James DeGale beats Bio Jack, and you're not going to fight Darrell. You're not going to fight Darrell's because they beat you in the amateurs. So you're not going to fuck with them. And I don't think you could beat either one of the Darrell brothers anyways. The kid, the WBO champion, a kid from Mexico, I don't know if you want a piece of that kid. That would leave the WBA title, which is the weakest champion and the easiest path for Golovkin to snatch a belt, maybe stay safe, and, rebuild him against whatever you can find. Because the top dogs at 168, you don't want any part of. I'm sorry, Gennady Golovkin, you just, no. And if you were as good as you claim to be, as Abel Sanchez claims you are, then you would have been clamoring for the winner of Andre Ward versus Kovalev. Because, hell, I beat Kovalev. I knocked him out of a body shot. Blah, blah, in sparring. Blah, 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 blah. If Kovalev wins against Andre Ward, well, maybe that's because his mandatory is a guy who already beat Nathan Cleverly. But I think if Kovalev wins, maybe Kovalev says to Gennady Golovkin, hey, come on up here, boy. Come on. Let's redo that again. Let's run that back. And if you run it back, if Kovalev beats Andre Ward, I don't think he is. But I think Kovalev's the real deal. But I think Andre Ward is more of a realer deal. I think that if Kovalev fights Adonis Stevenson, Kovalev beats Adonis Stevenson. I've always felt that way. I've always said that Kovalev beats Adonis Stevenson. I believe Andre Ward is the best in the business today, and I believe Andre Ward, he goes and he does what he does. He beats Kovalev. It's not going to be easy, but I think Andre Ward wins a split decision, close majority decision, maybe a slight. I see the score. I see it being maybe a 116, 112 type of fight. Ward Kovalev. But the point I'm making is, for Gennady Golovkin, everything he has hinges on this fight with Danny Jacobs. He is in a make it or we're going to find if he beats Danny Jacobs convincingly, then then nobody can take anything away from the man. You can't say, because I don't want no fucking excuses. He beats him. Hey, Gennady Golovkin, okay. We all of us that thought, me included, that thought you weren't as real as you are. We're going to apologize to you. We're going to eat a little bit of crow. If he loses, let the building blocks continue. Let the building begin, because, man, for HBO and Tom Loeffler to build you back up, man, it's going to take a lot. And there ain't no easy belt for you to get. And then you don't even think about fighting Canelo because, shit, that fight's gone. The WBO champion, I don't think he's going to want to fight you because that's gone. You have more to lose. And that's the situation you find yourself in. But that's the situation a lot of great fighters find themselves in. That, if you win, you win, okay. If you have more to lose than you do to win. Marvin Hagler was in that situation with Tommy Hearns. He was in that situation with John Beast Mugabe, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard. Marvin Hagler was in those situations where I had nothing to gain and everything to lose. Yet Marvin pulled it out. He took the challenge. He took the challenge and said, all right, let's do it. Because, he cleaned out his division. There wasn't nobody in his damn division for him to fight. And people keep bringing up James Toney and Michael Nunn and Sumbo Calabani. These guys were nobodies. And they didn't, and don't give me that shit about they wanted a piece of Marvin. They didn't want a piece of Marvin Hagler. These motherfuckers were sitting around hoping, waiting. These motherfuckers were people probably at the damn betting line, betting and praying to God that Ray Leonard won. Because ain't nobody really at middleweight want to fight Marvin Hagler. Nobody. Even though people saw Marvin slowing down, didn't nobody really want to fight Marvin. And don't tell me they did, because they didn't. None of them boys, Frank Tate, Michael Nunn, James Toney, none of them people, if you ask Jackie Callan right now, when she managed James Toney at middleweight, if James Toney was up there to fight Marvin Hagler, she'd have told you I wouldn't took that fight. I wouldn't have took that fight. Because at that time, no, Marvin would have ruined James. So look what he did to John Beast Mugabe. You don't think the dudes regret that? Yeah, Mugabe took a lot of the Marvin, but Marvin took more than Mugabe because Mugabe was never the same after losing to Marvin. Before Mugabe was 34-0 going to that fight. Undefeated, knockout machine. Nobody, Marvin Hagler, yeah, he beat the shit out of Marvin. Marvin took a beating in that fight, but Marvin gave a bigger beating, and Mugabe was never the same after that. After that fight, he was never the same. He wasn't the same feared beast. He wasn't the same guy that was walking through guys. He was a guy that if he hit you, yeah, he got rid of you, but he could also be tagged. He could also be hurt. He was exposed. Same thing with Mike Tyson against Buster Douglas. He was exposed. Why do you think Tyson never went for a rematch with Buster Douglas? He can't beat that guy. He knew it. Mugabe. A lot of you guys, it's the thing if you got to realize. People that fought Hagler didn't go ask for a rematch. Except for Mustafa Hamshaw. And I don't think Mustafa Hamshaw or Fujinama wanted to ask for it. They were just in position where it's like, oh, fuck. You telling me I'm the number one contender? This motherfucker's still champion? Shit. Fuck it. Let me get my ass beat. You know, and they went and they got their ass beat because Marvin beat their ass the first time. One day I had to get that second ass beat. Well, fuck it. Make that money, get that ass beat. But they knew they weren't going to win. They knew they weren't going to beat Marvin. They knew it. You know, and that's what I want to see from you. A lot of you newbies are sitting there comparing Gennady Golovkin to Marvin Hagler. And that's wrong because Marvin Hagler was a fucking monster. Marvin Hagler was a guy that the people in his own division were hiding. They were making motherfuckers, they were moving motherfuckers up. They created 168 just to get the fuck away from Marvin Hagler. Because these guys that were in the original part of 168 was a bunch of guys who did not want to fight Marvin Hagler. And they started, oh, we're too big for middleweight, but we're too small for light heavyweight. So they said, we'll create a division right in between there. A lot of it wasn't because, because you had two feared champions. You had Marvin Hagler, the middleweight champion, nobody wanted to fuck with. And you had goddamn Michael Spinks, Matthew Saad Muhammad, were the light heavyweight champions. Nobody. And then when Muhammad lost to, when Saad Muhammad lost to Dwight Muhammad Quaid, you had three champions and two weight classes that a lot of these boys said, we don't want to fuck with them. And they created super middleweight. So, hey, yeah, we can fuck with each other up in this bitch. And nobody gave a fuck about the super middleweight division until Leonard. That's why Leonard was able to win a super middleweight title and a light heavyweight title in one night. Why? Because nobody gave a fuck about the super middleweight division. That division was created by a bunch of pussies that didn't want no part of Marvin Hagler, that didn't want no part of Michael Spinks, and they creaked that little division in there so these punks would say, hey, a safe haven. We could be a champion in a safe haven. And what the hell they call that? A safe spot. A safe zone. That's what super middleweight was, a safe zone. A safe zone for Marvin, a safe zone for Michael. That's what super middleweight was. Gennady Golovkin, I want to see a guy. And I want to see a guy. If Gennady Golovkin truly is that guy, it starts against Danny Jacobs. Started against Danny Jacobs. Now, Peter Quillins already said he's not coming back he's most likely going to 168. It's not because he's scared, but he said, he was talking before the Jacobs fight that he was getting a little too big for 160. It was hard for him to make 160. Okay. If Gennady Golovkin is truly planning on being the Marvin Hagler of this era, he has options. Starts with Danny Jacobs. The WBO champion is pretty much going to run from him for as long as possible. Because he figures by the time he gets his head cracked and loses that title, he wants some money to, he wants some money to go along with it. So he's going to hide with that WBO title and hold that title hostage for as long as possible. Then there's Eubanks Jr. Okay? Take care of Eubanks Jr. Now, if you take care of Jacobs and Eubanks Jr., you all but cleared out the division. Now what you're hoping for, if you don't want to go up, what you're hoping for is the Charlo brothers, the one Charlo, I don't know, Jermaine or Jamel, one of them's talking about they can't make 154. Golovkin, come on up here. Alessandro Lara. Lara is an ugly fight. Oh, God. And he makes people look bad, but he's the type of fighter that you need. He's the type of fighter that, maybe instead of Lara calling you out, you beat Danny Jacobs, you take care of Eubanks Jr., you show that you're the beast you are. Maybe the Charlo brothers realize, yeah, we can cut off that. We need to give up that extra chicken wing and stay at 154. And Lara says, yeah, I'm staying at 154. No, you stay there. You know, because you got 4 guys at 154 from Laura, Andrade's, the Charlo brothers that are like breathing down your fucking neck. These boys are like, yo, you want to rumble? We'll rumble. You got Keith Thurman, the WBA welterweight champion, talking about I could do a 160 spin. You're not that feared. You know, you're not that feared. You know, you got guys calling. You got fucking Adrian Broner who hasn't beaten a top-rated guy this whole damn career. Talking about, Golovkin look like shit. I can whoop that motherfucker ass. You can't call for Adrian Broner. Galati, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Adrian fucking Broner's calling you out. That what I'm saying is, back in the day, you ain't never and not to back in the day, you ain't never hear somebody at 140, 135. You ain't hear motherfuckers calling out Marvin Hagler. Them motherfuckers didn't call out Marvin. Duran didn't call out. Duran wait till he got his success at 154. That's it. Let me go check this boy out. But that's Duran. Duran was a fucking goat. Duran was the greatest lightweight ever. Moved up, won the welterweight, moved up, won 154. He's a 3-division world champion when world champions meant something. And said, yeah, let me win this number 4 up here. You know, if I'm going to take it, let me take it from the best. He eventually did get number 4 beating Iran Barkley, who Tommy Hearns couldn't beat. But I digress. The point is, Duran was the type of cat that said, I want to fight the best. Yeah, let's do this. Tommy Hearns, the same thing. Tommy Hearns is like, shit. You know, I got to go through Marvin to get this number 3. You know, I'm willing to do that. He didn't sit there and say, well, I'll wait till, nice. Let's go do it. Great fight. The thing about it is, with that is, there are good fights to be made for Gennady Golovkin, both at 160 and above 160. There are fights to be made. If he's the real deal, we're going to find out. Then maybe I'll come back on here. And if he's a real deal, I'll be the first to say I was wrong. I'm sorry I was wrong. And I'll come back on and say, hey, you know what? Maybe we ought to look for that fight with James DeGale now. Who I believe James DeGale, in my opinion only, is the best guy at 168. I don't have a lot of faith in Bio Jack because I've seen him get knocked out by a guy that it's really, but then I've seen him come back and rebound. But I like James DeGale above everybody else at 168. I think he's the class of the division. And I think he's the real deal. And I look forward. I think he's the guy that maybe, just maybe, is going to give Andre Ward his toughest test at 175. Should Andre Ward get past Kovalev, I think Andre Ward will pretty much, beat what's up there. And I think James DeGale could be the guy that really tests Andre Ward in a couple years. I don't think that he will be tested by I'm gonna say this. Adonis Stevenson is a puncher. Pure and simple. He has some skills, but Adonis Stevenson fights guys that are less that he's much better than. He doesn't fight guys equal to him or slightly better. He fights guys that are worse than him or worse that he's better than. Adonis Stevenson has not proven anything. You knocked out Chad Dawson, yay! But what have you done for me lately? Nothing. The boyfriend tour was on a roll. Before he got on that roll, part of that roll was he knocked your ass down and had you in all kind of trouble. And then he turned around and got knocked out in one round by some other kid. The fuck happened there? What's up with that? So Adonis Stevenson has not really impressed me that much. I would like to see more. I would have loved to see more. He sits there and he's on Showtime and calls out Kovalev, but the bottom line is, if you really want the Kovalev fight, we all know whether you're on Showtime, HBO, whatever, if you want that fight, fucking Al Haymon would have found a way. Here's the deal. You're a Haymon fighter. So you're not really locked into any promoter and or network. So if you really wanted that fight, Al Haymon does not have his guys that he advised locked into promoters and or networks. You are if a network wants to use you, fine. Just because you work with it doesn't mean you're exclusively theirs. Al Haymon doesn't work that way. So, if you really, really, really want that Kovalev fight, networks didn't mean a damn thing because Al Heyman would have said, hey, Al Heyman would have went to Showtime and said, yeah, I know you have options on it, but why don't we get this thing done, fight this thing on HBO, and make a deal that, the winner owes you a fight. Boom. There we go. If it's a great fight, you get the rematch. There it goes. It could have been made, but Adonis, you wasn't pushing for that fight. When you're a great fighter and you're pushing for a fight, you get the fight. Great fighters get the fights they want. Keith Thurman has been pushing to unify. He's been pushing for unification. He's been screaming for Danny Garcia. Now there's talk you may get Danny Garcia next year. Earl Spence Jr. has been screaming for everybody. So somebody's going to be sacrificed to Earl Spence to win that IBF welterweight title. Manny Pacquiao, the winner of Manny Pacquiao, Jesse Vargas is in play. Because there's fights for them to have. Whether if it's Jesse Vargas, great, because Jesse Vargas, if Bob Arum's willing to play ball, Jesse Vargas there's a rematch with Bradley, which I don't know if you want to see that, but there's aside of a rematch with Bradley, there's fights with Broner that we made. Hell, there may be a unification fight with him and Spence. There are fights to be made. Jesse Benvedetta. There are fights that can be made. So, all that talk that people have about, oh, you were this, now we're that, please, don't give me that. If the fight needs to be made, it can be made. It's the fact that people use the networks and use all these other excuses to tell you and me and anybody and all these casuals that, oh, the fight can't be made because this, because this, and you're not intelligent enough to investigate it and find out that that's bullshit. This fight could have been made. But the participants involved were not too keen. One side wanted it, one side didn't want it. We'll figure out which side didn't want it. The side that's calling out for it is usually the side that wants it. The side that's not responding is usually the side that, I don't think we want that fight. You can read between the lines about fights. Some guys want fights, some guys are, guys, like in Floyd Day, a lot of people called out Floyd. People that didn't really matter called out Floyd. But that's because, they use Floyd as a way to get their name out there. Ronda Rousey called out Floyd. She knew she was never going to fight Floyd, but calling Floyd out there, what's on ESPN? Rousey challenges Floyd. That shit's never going to happen. But in pure fights, in pure combat sports, if two guys if two guys really want to fight, they will find a way to make the fight happen. Because fighters have egos, very big egos, and no fighter likes to be called out. Even though we say, hey, you're above that, don't call him out. You call a guy out. Guys they get to that level and say, whoa, who the fuck you calling out? It's like when you talk back to your parents, they're like, whoa, who the fuck you talking to? Your parents be like, whoa. So fighters don't like to be called out. I noticed when I was a fighter, I didn't like to be called. You didn't call me out. You called me, what the fuck? Oh, we got to do something. Make this shit happen. Let's make this shit happen. No fighter likes to be called out. So when you hear a guy calling somebody out, the guy that's being called out, if he wants to fight, he's like, yo, let's make this shit happen. This motherfucker calling me out. I can't have this guy calling me out all day long. I can't have him calling me out. It's got to be, let's handle this business. Or he's just like, I don't really want that fight. Fuck it. We just going to play like we don't hear him. Sugar Ray Leonard did that to Aaron Pryor forever. We don't hear him. Aaron Pryor wanted that fight. Aaron Pryor said, yo, Mr. Leonard, let's get this fight. He went to call him Mr. Leonard. Leonard was like, nah. Because Angelo Dundee and then was like, nah, we don't want that work. We don't want that. We can't handle that motherfucker in the gym. In the gym, we can't handle him sparring, and we can control the sparring session. So what the hell we going to do with Aaron Pryor? We get him in the middle of the fucking ring in Caesar's Palace where we can't control that shit. We're going to have some problems. It's going to be a rough night. I don't even know if we can pull through that night, so we're going to act like we don't hear Aaron Pryor. Aaron Pryor running around the country calling us out. Aaron Pryor walked up on Leonard's stand, Leonard doing a post fight. Aaron Pryor did the same thing. Aaron Pryor walked up and said, I've been trying to get a fight, Mr. Leonard here. And Leonard told me, yo, this is my show. This is my show. He didn't tell him about, yo, why don't we can do something. No, this is my show. He let him know, you're not getting a fight. And he sat there and he backed up and they talked about Hagler, they talked about, but they didn't talk about Aaron Pryor. Oh, we'll fight this guy. We'll fight. They didn't mention Aaron Pryor. Why don't you mention Aaron Pryor? Tommy Hearns, when he's at 147, I went to Sugar Man. What about Aaron Pryor? Fuck Aaron Pryor. You know, they did. You know what I'm saying? You notice that I think the only Kronk fighter that fought Aaron Pryor was DeJuan Johnson, who fought Aaron Pryor. Remember that fight being on CBS? Pryor defended the title against him because Kronk didn't really have their guys fuck with Pryor too much. Emmanuel Stewart was one of the guys who really have his boys fuck with Aaron Pryor too much because Emmanuel Stewart knew that that's a long fucking night and that's a lot of fucking work and we might come at it with an L. And even if you get a win, you've gone through so much that you may not recover from that. But we've covered enough topics. Like I said, I hope look, I don't like what HBO does. A lot of what HBO does, I don't like what they do. But I don't want to see anyone stop covering the sport of boxing because the sport of boxing is a sport I'm passionate about, the sport I love. I want to see as many people covered as they can. So if HBO's found some extra funding, if HBO's, even though Jim Lampley sucks, and I'll say it till forever, Jim Lampley sucks. Max Kellerman's an ass kisser. Harold Letterman, I don't got really much to say about Harold Letterman. He's just a judge, But the point is, if they're going to cover fights, my advice, I hope they do, just remember when you watch an HBO fight, turn the volume down, watch the fight, and watch the fight without, you watch the fight. And then if you're TiVoing it, record it, your DVR, record your DVR, then come back and watch with your DVR and turn the volume on. Turn out Jim Lampley and Max Kellerman and watch the fight. And I guarantee your whole perspective of that fight is a lot different. Or you really want to see it, put on HBO Latino. And listen to them brothers call the fight. You don't know what the fuck they're saying, but you know what? They have more, they're not biased like Jim Lampley and Marquez. Those boys have boxing knowledge. So that's my thing for this week. Didn't have one last week because there were certain things that took precedence, world events. A lot of young black men getting killed by police officers, a lot of black injustice being going on in the world, and I felt that there were more bigger issues to get out there than to get out a boxing podcast. But since things have, the waters have mellowed a little bit and we're, moving on, I figured let me get into this. Last week was a very hot and heavy and a very bad week for black people in America in general. And this year, more than ever, I hope black people, we get out there and vote and make our voices heard. I'm just saying. So, till next time, this is Doug Wilkerson signing off. Old School Boxing Talk. Be safe out there. Talk to you later.